What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a beginner's guide to owner mode in Madden 20. I've had a couple people put comments and ask just, what are the differences between coach and owner mode, and what can you do in one versus the other? And so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what you can do in owner mode for a lot of you guys that are maybe newer to the game or haven't played in owner mode and only play as a coach or only play as a player. So first things first, you pretty much have access to all of the same stuff plus bonus content is kind of how I see owner mode. So you're going to have access to all the same stuff. You're going to be able to get player breakouts. You're going to play your games. You're going to do everything just the same in your things to do category. So you have access to all the same things over there. Now on the team tab, this will pop up differently for you than it does in coach mode. In coach mode, you have access to your coach. You can select his traits and stuff. You have access to your team. But in this mode, you have a whole separate tab for my owner, and we'll get into that in a minute. But you still have access to the same things. You can do your adjust your lineup screen. You have your roster, your depth chart, injury report, salaries, all the same stuff here. And then under my coach, you have the same stuff as when you are a coach. You can edit your schemes, edit your formation subs, auto subs, and everything like that. So that's all the same. Trades and free agents are the same, but the owner tab is really where you start to get into the differences between coach and owner mode. Now, I'm actually going to come back to that in a minute because I want to touch on all the other tabs first and then come back to this because this is the heavy one. This is where most of the stuff really comes into play with the differences between coach and owner mode. If you go to the members tab, it's going to look the same. There's going to be no differences here. It's just going to list off everybody that's in your league. And then under the league tab, I believe this might look slightly different. I can't remember. But you still have access to everything here. You can see all the transactions in your league. You can see your stats, your schedule, and everything like that. But keep in mind, if you're going for the trophies on Madden 20, where you're looking to get the max legacy score, don't create a coach. And the reason being, I'm going to go to stats real quick and show you guys the legacy leaderboard. It's much more difficult to climb the ranks as an owner because you can't get yearly awards. That's one of the biggest things that's going to influence whether you get this legacy score or not, is the yearly awards. So as a coach, you have access to coaching awards and just coach of the year awards. But if you play as a player, you have access to MVP, offensive player of the year, best quarterback, best running back, whatever position you are, you have access to all of those other yearly awards. And as you guys can see, stacking up on this screen, if you need to pass Tom Brady's legacy score, which is one of the trophies, you need to earn yearly awards to progress that faster. So don't do what I did. This is speaking from personal experience. I created an owner and tried to move forward 15 years into the future, and I was like, why can't I get this legacy score? It's going so slow. Well, it's just because I didn't have access to those yearly awards. You need to do that if you want to get the trophy quicker. Make sure you create a player or a coach, and you'll be able to get that legacy score trophy a lot quicker. Now, in addition to that, all of these screens are the same here in terms of your stats and everything. And then your league options are going to be mostly the same. However, there are a couple differences. Actually, I think one specific difference in particular. If you go to your user management and you go to user teams, you can add funds to your team. So if I click on any user in the league, I can now go down and hit add $5 million in funds. Now, we're going to talk about what this actually does for you in a minute, but what you'll see is I started off with $300 million in funds in the top right corner. And now it says new owner, 25th value, $315 million in funds because I hit that 3 times. So I added $15 million in funds to my team. So that's one thing in the user management tab, in the settings and stuff, that is different between the two. Everything else remains the same. That's going to be important. And the reason being is that money is not something that shows up in coach mode. In coach mode, when you re-sign players, you don't have to worry about their bonuses or anything like that. You just pay them the contract, and all you have to do is worry about staying within the salary cap. However, when I re-sign a player in owner mode, and I'll try and advance forward for you guys in a minute, when I re-sign a player in owner mode, I have to pay out that bonus money, and all of that bonus money is going to come out of my funds in the top right corner, that 315 million. And in addition to that, when we get into this owner tab and we start talking about stadiums, whenever you move, whenever you upgrade your stadium, whenever you rebuild, anything of this nature, this money, these 5 million, 10 million, all these different things, they come directly out of your funds. So if I went and I hit upgrade my parking, that's $10 million. You see that immediately comes out of my funds in the top right corner of the screen. So that's really important for you guys to know, is that you have to pay attention to your funds in owner mode, because all of the money that you sign players with is going to come out of there. Everything that you do in terms of your stadium is going to come out of there. Now, we'll get back to that in a minute with the re-signing players and whatnot. I'll advance to the offseason and show you guys exactly how that works. But let's finally talk about the meat of owner mode, which is the My Owner tab. You have different things in here than you have in the other mode, which is the coach mode or the player mode. In owner mode, you have owner goals. So you get to pick these, I believe, or no, you don't get to pick these. This is going to determine whether you get fired or not. So this is going to, I don't know if you guys have seen this setting before or not, but if you go into your league settings and you go to coach firing, if you set this to on, in coach mode, if you perform poorly and you don't meet your goals, you're going to get fired. Same thing with in owner mode. If you have that set to on and you perform poorly as an owner, you can get fired as the owner of a team. And so that's why you see up here your owner goals. If you have that setting on, make sure that you hit your owner goals. So my owner goal is that I want to win a Super Bowl in my career or lose one Super Bowl in my career. So that, I don't know how different these can get. I've never really even played with the coach firing on, to be honest with you guys, because it kind of screws with things. But I would imagine that these could get more complex, especially if you're like a rebuilding team or something like that. That might get more difficult for you to actually be able to do anything with that. But next, you're going to have your media questions, which is the same as your coach mode. You have media questions, but this is going to summarize all of the positives and negatives of it. So it's going to show you your fan happiness, your team popularity, your recent success, and everything like that. And you're trying to boost those things. And the media questions are going to show you positive and negative effects based on the way you answered your questions, and you're going to get to see that here in this summary tab. In addition to that, you have your team value tab, which is another summary tab, and it's just going to show you your team value in relation to everybody else in the league. And you can scroll through the different combinations to see where can I improve. So, you know, I'm number one in concession prices, merchandise prices, ticket prices. I'm fine there. Maybe I don't need to, maybe I could charge more because I'm charging so cheap for them. But my stadium is the second worst in the league next to the Raiders. And so if I want to increase my happiness as a team or as a fan base, I need to work on my stadium. I need to renovate it, upgrade it, you know, move, relocate. And that's going to be one of the biggest things of owner mode, is that if you're seeking to relocate a team, that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to do the owner mode so you can pick your stadium and everything like that. And that's a fun way to play it. And so these show your areas of improvement and your areas of strength. And you'll be able to, you know, modify these throughout the season by looking at these other tabs that I'm about to show you guys. I've already showed you the stadium tab, where you have the opportunity to upgrade your stadium, rebuild your stadium, or relocate, which is only available at certain times during the season. So you do want to keep that in mind. You can't always, like right now in the playoffs, I can't just hit relocate. That happens in like week 3, 4, 5, or 6 or something like that. And then each week it's going to give you the option to relocate from there. And I'll see if we can sim that out in the future, but that is important for you guys to know that that's where that's at. Now, we talked about the team value. Now we can talk about finances. The finances tab is something that you have absolutely no access to in the coach mode, and this is where you get to set your prices for everything. You can set your prices for the tickets if you want to charge more. Maybe you're a really successful team, you want to charge really high prices for your tickets, or maybe you're a rebuilding team, you want to charge really low price tickets to get people into the door. You can do that. You can set your merchandise prices, you can set your jersey prices for your star players, like Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill, Delaney Walker. You can do all those different things here. In addition to that, you can set your concession prices. So depending on what your stadium is, you're going to have access to different levels of concessions. Where the Titans, we only have 2 stars, so our stadium is one of the the lower end stadiums in the league, so we don't have access to all of these higher end concessions that some other stadiums would have access to. So you can set your prices for those things. And then your team revenue is going to be summarized on this tab. It's going to show you guys basically what your expenses are per week versus what your income is, and it's going to give you a total, and that'll show you guys whether you're profitable or not. And that's really important because in owner mode you're trying to increase your funds so that you can keep paying players, and you can keep, you know, making upgrades to your stadiums and stuff like that. So that's really important to you guys here in the owner mode. Now we can talk about marketing a little bit. You can't do much on this tab, but it's a good summary tab that's going to show you guys the popularity of your team and your players. So player marketing wise, it shows you there on the right, we have some marketable players. Marcus Mariota's a 90, which is as close to as high as you can get. Tannehill's an 84, Delaney Walker's an 83, and we can go into the player marketing and see our team. You can compare to other teams in the NFL top 10, and maybe go out there and see if you want to acquire a player that is specifically marketable to you, and they'll sell more jerseys. So if you're struggling to make a profit with a team, I could go out and trade for Eli Manning or Julio Jones or Larry Fitzgerald and try and bring them into my team. And this will change depending on how many jerseys are sold, but you can go out and trade for one of these more popular players that have like a 99 popularity, 98 personality, and then bring them in and sell more jerseys and become a more profitable team. So that is something that you want to pay attention to whenever you're in the owner mode. In addition to that, you're going to see your team popularity as a graph, a line chart specifically, and you're going to see how this increases and decreases based on, you know, how you're improving your team or not. Your national popularity, your regional popularity, and local popularity could go up and down depending on your performance as an owner. And so it is important to focus on those things whenever you're actually doing that. And then media relations, this is the same exact tab as before that I showed you guys up there. I'm not sure why they added it into a second place. It's under media questions, and it's under fan happiness, or sorry, marketing as well. Fan happiness is going to show you guys basically the same thing as that other chart that I showed you guys before, how happy your fans are with your team's success, your popularity, all these different things, your stadium, and your areas for improvement. And the other thing is to note, and I should have pointed this out when we were looking at the merchandise and stuff, on the right side, it's going to have fan opinions, and it's going to tell you guys, you know, some areas to improve. So like this one says, Titans, something has to be done to improve our stadium. I'd rather watch the games on TV. And so that's letting you know that the fans aren't happy with that situation, and that's something that you need to improve. Likewise, if I go back to the merchandise, or the finances, and then go to like my merchandise, for example, they're going to say on the right side what's too expensive and what's too cheap. So, you know, the Titans would sell way more Corey Davis Nike jerseys if they brought the price down. So then I would want to go in to his jersey and bring it down to like $90 or something like that. So it gives you the option to do that. It gives you feedback, positive feedback when you're doing something right, negative feedback when you need to improve something. And so that's a big difference between coach mode, is that you don't have all these different interactions that you do in owner mode. And then one of the more important ones here is you have the option to edit your staff. Let's go and look at team success real quick. This one's going to give you another chart that shows you your team success up and down over the years. Obviously, the Titans haven't been very successful. They have a negative record overall, and so their team success is pretty low compared to other teams that have been more successful in the league, especially in recent years. And so you get to see a nice graph to kind of scroll through and compare all the different teams. But let's talk about the staff tab here. So under the staff tab, you actually have the option to hire and fire your head coach, your scout, and your trainer, and these are all very important to you. And the reason being is that your trainer is going to have an effect on how quickly and how well your players recover from injury. Your scout is going to affect where you get a discount on the players that you scout, and then your head coach their traits are going to affect, you know, what you're able to do in terms of XP and stuff like that. Some of the other videos that I've shown you guys how you can buy different coach traits. And so if I were to change my scout, you know, for example, if I were to train my change my trainer, for example, my trainer has bad regression, which means that when I have a player out for a long injury, they're going to come back. They might regress being under that injury, or they might not come back as quickly. However, if I hired an available staff person that has world-class regression, or has good regression. My player is less likely to regress during that injury. They're less likely to go down as an overall. So if I were the Pittsburgh Steelers, for example, I would want to hire a world-class trainer because I have Ben Roethlisberger, who's out for a season-ending injury. And I want him to come back next season as the highest possible overall. And if I have a trainer like my trainer with bad regression, he might go down to a 75. But if I have a trainer that has world-class regression, he might stay at an 80+. And so that's something you're able to do in here. That's something that is very easy. So if I go to my staff and I just click fire staff, I can go ahead and fire my staff member. I can go to available staff, click on Dan Winters, offer him a contract, and offer has been accepted. So I now have a better trainer that's going to allow my guys to heal better from injury. Likewise with scouts, if I don't need receivers on my team, which I don't think the Titans really do, I can go ahead and fire that staff member and get a discount on training or scouting different positions. If I need a quarterback, I can hire this guy. He's going to give me a discount on scouting quarterbacks. I recommend picking the ones that have the most players. So like offensive line is a good one. If you get a discount on offensive line, you're covering 5 different positions, so you get the most discount overall with a guy like that. So I recommend looking into your scouts and trainers and hiring and firing different guys. Now, the level of your head coach doesn't matter much except for popularity. Your team will be, or your fans will be more happy with you if you have a higher level coach. Other than that, you want to look at their traits that they have, and none of these guys, I don't believe, have any traits, and so you're not really going to get any benefit by hiring any of those guys. But what you can do is you can click on, from this screen, the previous screen, you can click on upgrade packages on your head coach, and you can actually go in, see what they have, and you can upgrade your coach from there. So you do still have the ability to upgrade your coach and everything. Don't be fooled by the fact that it's not under the My Coach tab, because that's where it is at in the coaching franchise mode. It's not in here under this mode. You have to go to My Owner, and then you have to go to Staff, and then you're going to click triangle, or you're going to click X on your head coach, and that's going to allow you to access all the same XP packages and all this different stuff, all the different traits that you can get for your coach over time. So let's go ahead and advance to the offseason. I'll show you guys how it works with re-signing players, and show you guys that it takes the money kind of right out of your pocket from the funds up there in the upper right corner. So we have $307 million in funds. Let's say I go to re-sign one of these players. I sign Derrick Henry, for example. Derrick Henry, I will make it nice and easy. I will flatline it at $5 million bonus, and I'm going to sign him for way more than what he wants just so that I make sure we get him. So $5 million bonus over 5 years. Go ahead and sign him to that amount. And then we go back out to the main screen. Didn't take it out. Hold on a second. It's supposed to take the money right out of your funds up there. So let me go ahead and just negotiate with a bunch of these guys and then see what happens. The money comes out of your funds, but it might not be working because of the fact that it's the re-sign phase. There we go. So now you can see up in the upper right hand corner, now that I tagged him, it took out $25 million for Logan, or for, who was it, Derrick Henry that I signed. It took out $25 million for him, and then it took out an additional, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 million for franchise tagging Ben Jones. That money that you re-sign your players with is really crucial because it goes away really fast. Like, if I sign a guy to a multi-year deal, if I sign Logan Ryan to a 5-year deal, it's going to take out 5 years. And I don't know why it does this, but it pays the entire bonus right up front. Normally, the bonus is spread out in real life over the amount of years of the contract. So I'd be paying out a $5 million guarantee over the next 5 years. So it'd be 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. But in this, it's going to have you pay out the full 25 right up front. So I'm doing a signing bonus of 5 years, 5 by 5, that's 25 million. I go ahead and sign him, and it will end up actually taking out 25 million when it's all said and done. So let me go ahead and just go through here, and you guys will see that it will at some point up there in the top right take it out once it actually clicks over and loads. for that to go by. We'll just go ahead and advance to the next week and see if it loads through. There, so 254. So it took out that whole $25 million all at once. So that's what you guys need to know, is that when you're re-signing players in owner mode, it's going to take out the full bonus right away. And if you don't have the funds to sign people, it's going to be tough for you. And this is why owner mode, it can get a lot more fun than coach mode, is because it can be tougher to sign free agents. It's going to be very unlikely for you to be able to go out and get a ton of different free agents off the market, because their bonuses are going to be insane. You know, you're going to pay a top end, like let's say I go for Amari Cooper, I'm going to be paying him $25 million in bonus right out of my pocket. Let's say you do that for a full season for a couple different players and you re-sign some different players, you're going to be really short on cash, especially if you're a team like the Titans that needs to rebuild their stadium or something like that. So that's pretty much what there is to owner mode. There isn't too much different other than that. I can go ahead and jump to next season and see if it'll let me do the upgrade, the stadium rebuild or the relocation, so I can just kind of give you guys a quick little breakdown of that. But that's pretty much what there is to this game mode this year. A little bit of difference, a little bit of higher skill level involved. There's a little bit more nuance to it, a couple extra details that you have to pay attention to. The money being the biggest part of it, and that's why I kind of say if you want to go for a challenge, play on owner mode. If you want to play on something that requires a little bit less financial involvement and financial monitoring, then you're going to want to go ahead and look at coach mode. Let me go ahead and advance a couple more times, see if we can get the relocation thing to trigger. I don't remember which week it actually triggers, or if it triggers, if I don't have the settings set properly. So let me go make sure I have the settings set so that we can relocate. Relocation settings, normal. We're just going to put it at everyone can relocate, and then hopefully it'll bring it up for us when it's time. Like I said, it happens somewhere between like week 3 and week 6, so upgrade. There we go. So in week 5, you get the first option to relocate or rebuild. So you're just going to click on start relocation. You can either view available cities or ignore. I'm going to view available cities. It'll allow me to pick a different city. You have all types of different options between London, New Mexico, Toronto, San Antonio, Orlando, Salt Lake City, Brooklyn, Memphis, Chicago, Sacramento, Columbus, Portland, Austin, Dublin, Ireland, Houston, Oklahoma City, St. Louis, San Diego, Las Vegas, and back around to London. You have a whole bunch of different places you can choose from. It's important to note that if you want to make money, you're probably going to want to aim towards a huge market size with a loyal fan base. It's going to be much harder to make money in a place like Oklahoma City, where it's a small market size and the fans, or a place that doesn't have loyal fans, like Dublin. Let's say we went to Dublin. Market size is decent, not that great. Fans are laid back, so they're really not going to come to the games or anything like that. So those are things that you're going to want to pay attention to when you're picking a relocation city. Let's go ahead and, just for the sake of it, we're going to pick one of the green ones. We'll pick New Mexico City. They have hardcore fans, and there's a huge market there. And then we'll go ahead and advance, and week by week it's going to give you options on what you're going to select for your new stadium. So now we're going to get to pick the new team name. You always have the option to keep your team name, or you can pick one of 3 team names from that new city. So we could pick the Golden Eagles, Conquistadors, or Diablos. I'm going to go ahead and go with Diablos just because it's an interesting one. It's green. We'll go ahead and advance to the next. Not what I wanted to do. We want to advance to the next week. And it should give us the option to start picking our stadium. This gives us our uniform. So you're going to have 3 options of uniforms from all 3 of the different team names that you could pick. So we could go ahead and pick, we'll just pick the one with the red helmet that looks slightly different, and then advance, and it will give us an option of which stadium to choose. So we're at 392 million. I don't know if this is going to actually deduct money from us right away, but it is important to note that from the financial side of things, these stadiums cost different amounts of money based on what type of stadium you're picking. If you're picking the basic, that's a small stadium. If you pick the deluxe, this is going to be a large stadium, and it's going to cost you more money depending on what you're picking. So if I pick like the deluxe futuristic stadium, that's going to be the most expensive, and that's going to deduct 0.4 million from my weekly costs and give me less profits per week. Now, if I were to take like a basic stadium, that's going to only cost 0.12 million per week. That's going to reduce how much money I'm actually spending and allow me to make more profits going into the new city. It's also you're going to have to consider things like the trade-off between seating capacity and how many suites there are and stuff like that. You can get complicated with it. I'm, just for the sake of it, just going to pick the deluxe futuristic stadium to show you guys how that kind of plays out. And then that's pretty much it. You then just play out the current season. Once you end up in the next season, you'll be able to play in that new stadium, and that's kind of where things end up. So now, I believe you guys can see up in the top right corner, it did deduct some money from me, so I think it starts deducting the weekly costs from you right away. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's the extent of owner mode for you guys. That's the difference between what you can do in this mode and what you can do in coach mode. If there's anything else you guys would like to see in terms of this, let me know. I know there were a couple different comments on this, but I hope this helps you guys out in some way, or it is informative to you. If it is, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and comment down below with what you guys would like to see next. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a great day. See ya.